Hello, friends. Good morning. Hope you all are doing good. I'm Rosie Pegu D'Souza here, back with this book, The Emperor's New Mind by Sir Roger Penrose. So, in one of the previous videos, I spoke to you about one of my hobbies, and it is painting. So, I painted this flower vase from top to bottom along with this butterfly and all those things. So I really love my vase now. So the interesting part is that I bought this vase from a thrift store I think 10 years back, and was sitting in the shed for a decade. And all of a sudden I decided to paint my a decade old vase and then gave it a facelift. So I think it looks beautiful now. It looks like brand new. Okay, let's continue with this book, this fascinating journey with The Emperor's New Mind by Sir Roger Penrose. Okay, in my last video, I was reading about artificial intelligence. So we are continuing with the artificial intelligence devices. One of the first AI devices was W. Gray Walter's tortoise, made in the early 1950s, which moved around the floor under its own power until its battery ran low. And then it would make for the nearest power socket, plug itself in, and recharge its batteries. Wow, it is fascinating. When thoroughly replenished, it would detach itself from the socket and renew its adventures across the floor. Since then, many other similar objects have been constructed. For example, Waltz 1982. A somewhat separate line of development is exemplified by Terry Winograd's computer program, designed in 1972, which can converse sensibly about a collection of blocks of various shapes and colors, which in simulation it places on top of one another in different orders and arrangements. Despite such early successes, it is remarkable how difficult it has proved to be to design and control of even a simple jointed robot arm, which has to maneuver around, avoiding crowded obstacles, which has required motions where the required motions may seem obvious to a human looking on. The interpretation of visual scenes generally is also an area where the procedures of AI have so far got nowhere close to what the human brain, and indeed most other animals, seems effortlessly to be able to achieve. Perhaps more in the direct line of a Turing test is the computer program of K.M. Colby, developed in the mid-1960s, which simulates a psychotherapist so successfully that some patients find that they prefer the computer to a human therapist and are prepared to reveal more of themselves to it than they are to its human counterparts. For an example of such an interchange between the computer therapist and a patient, consider the following conversation conducted via teletype. Therapist: how can I help you? Patient: I don't know. Therapist: try to tell me something about it. Patient: no. Therapist: can you elaborate? Patient, I am sick and tired today. Therapist, do you have any idea why? Patient, yes, I am old. Therapist, please go on. Patient, I seem to have lost interest in everything. Therapist, tell me more about such feelings. Patient, I have some idea why I feel this way too. Therapist, you have? Patient, it seems that I miss having a family. Therapist, what makes you feel you miss having a family? Patient, there is a challenge about it. Therapy, Therapist, why is that important to you? Though this may give an airy impression that the computer has some understanding, in fact, it has none and is merely following some fairly simple mechanical rules. There is also a converse to this in a system where the computer simulates a human schizophrenic patient, giving all the textbook answers and symptoms, and is capable of fooling some medical students into believing that a human patient is actually supplying the answers. Just plain computers probably provide the best examples of machines exhibiting what might be thought of as intelligent behavior. In fact, some machines have now, in 1989, reached an extremely respectable level of performance in relation to human players, approaching that of international master. These computer ratings would be a little below 2300, where, for comparison, Kasparov, the world champion, has a rating greater than 2700. In particular, a computer program for a Fidelity Excel commercial microprocessor by Dan and Kathy Spracklen has achieved a rating allo of 2110 and has now been awarded the USCF Master title. Even more impressive is Deep Thought, programmed largely by Seung Shu of Carnegie Mellon University, which has a rating of about 2500 ELO, and recently achieved the remarkable feat of sharing first prize with Grandmaster Tony Miles in a chess tournament in Long Beach, California, November 1988, actually defeating a Grandmaster, Ben Larson, for the first time. Chess computers now also excel at solving chess problems and can easily outstrip humans at this endeavor. Chess playing machines rely a lot on book knowledge in addition to accurate calculation power. It is worth remarking that chess playing machines fare better on the whole relative to a comparable human player when it is required that the moves are made very quickly. The human players perform relatively better in relation to the machines when a good measure of time is allowed for each move. One can understand this in terms of the fact that the computer's decisions are made on the basis of precise and rapid extended computations, whereas the human player takes conscious assessments. These human judgments serve to cut down drastically the number of serious possibilities that need be considered at each stage of calculation, and much greater depth can be achieved in the analysis when the time is available than in the machines simply calculating and directly eliminating possibilities without using such judgments. These differences are even more noticeable with the difficult oriental game of Go, where the number of possibilities per move is considerably greater than in chess. The relationship between consciousness and the forming of judgments will be central to my later arguments, especially in chapter 10. An AI approach to pleasure and pain. One of the claims of AI is that it provides a route towards some sort of understanding of mental qualities such as happiness, pain, hunger. Let us take the example of Gray Walter's tortoise. When its batteries ran low, its behavior pattern would change and would then act in a way designed to replenish its store of energy. There are clear analogies analogies between this and the way that a human being or any other animal would act when feeling hungry. It perhaps might not be too much of a distortion of language to say that the grey walker tortoise was hungry when it acted in this way. Some mechanism within it was sensitive to the state of charge in its battery, and when this got below a certain point, it feel pain when it is PP score as negative and pleasure when it is positive. Indeed, could our device feel anything at all? The operationalist would no doubt either say obviously yes or dismiss such questions as meaningless. But it seems to me to be clear that there is a serious and difficult question to be considered here. In ourselves, the influences that drive us are of various kinds.